I never thought a Monday morning could feel like the moment everything in my life shifted. I was halfway through my first cup of coffee, sorting through emails when my wife, Emma, stepped into the kitchen looking unusually drained. She normally greeted me with warmth, but that day her eyes were distant, unfocused. She offered a half-hearted morning and went straight to the fridge. At first, I chalked it up to exhaustion or stress from work. Still, something in my gut warned me that this was different. Later that day, when she mentioned feeling dizzy and nauseous, alarm bells went off. I asked what was going on, but she brushed it aside, insisting she probably hadn't slept much. But then the inconsistencies began. She mentioned being at the office at times when her emails showed she wasn't. She referenced grabbing drinks with her boss in a way that didn't quite fit. Bit by bit, the truth started to peek through the cracks. When I gently asked her if something had happened, her expression froze. Her hands trembled. After several long seconds, she confessed. Her boss had put something in her drink at a company event the previous night. Hearing it felt like the ground disappeared beneath me. Someone she trusted professionally, someone in a position of power, had violated that trust in the worst way. I was furious, terrified, sick, but I forced myself to stay composed. She needed calm, not rage. While she tried to remember everything, my mind bounced between options, going directly to the police, confronting him, gathering proof first. Every choice carried risks. That evening, I sat beside her as she slowly pieced together what she could recall. As she spoke, a disturbing picture emerged. It wasn't just one isolated act. There were others in the room, co-workers who seemed aware something was wrong, yet none of them stepped in. That realization was even harder to swallow than the event itself. The following days blurred into one long stretch of investigation. I carefully saved texts, screenshots, emails, anything that could prove what had happened. I spoke discreetly to people who attended the event, comparing timelines and stories. It felt like trying to defeat an opponent who didn't follow any rules, forcing me to think 10 steps ahead. Then came a revelation that sealed everything. A colleague of Emma's approached me quietly, suggesting this wasn't the first time her boss had pulled something like this. They were careful with their words, afraid of the repercussions. But their hint confirmed what I already suspected. This man had a pattern and a network of silent enablers. I contacted an attorney specializing in workplace misconduct. Their first question was simple but heavy. Do you have evidence? I understood then how critical it was to gather proof that couldn't be dismissed. Over the next week, Emma and I documented everything meticulously. Dates, times, witnesses, events. We created an unbreakable chain of facts. And with each step, I could see her slowly reclaiming a sense of control. She wasn't just a victim anymore. She was part of the fight. Finally, the moment came to take action. We filed a detailed report with HR, complete with screenshots, messages, corroborating statements, and a description of the workplace culture that allowed this man to act without consequences. Waiting for their response was excruciating. Every notification on my phone made my pulse jump. Then the company scheduled a meeting with all involved parties. Walking into that room felt like stepping onto a battlefield. Her boss entered with the same arrogance he'd always carried, convinced he could charm his way out of anything. But when the evidence was laid out, his confidence shattered. His eyes darted to colleagues who'd once shielded him, but they stayed silent. Their loyalty had evaporated the moment consequences became real. Then Emma spoke. Her voice was steady but carried months of fear, anger, and betrayal. She explained how powerless she'd felt and how this man's behavior had affected others before her. Her honesty cut through the room like a blade. Combined with the evidence, it was undeniable. Within days, the company suspended him pending a full investigation and announced new protocols to prevent anything like this from happening again. Those who had turned a blind eye also faced accountability. The structure that once protected him began to collapse piece by piece. Emma grew stronger as the weeks passed. She spoke openly about workplace safety and supported others who had stayed silent too long. Watching her find her voice again filled me with pride. This wasn't revenge, it was justice. But the most startling moment came when the man reached out privately, trying to manipulate us, pretending innocence. I refused to engage. No secret agreements. No burying the truth. Too many people had already been harmed by silence. His downfall was rapid. His reputation crumbled, his allies distanced themselves, and the consequences spread to everyone who had helped hide his behavior. Months later, Emma and I sat on the porch as the sun went down, the sky glowing in shades of red and gold. For the first time since everything happened, we both felt at peace. She looked at me and smiled, a genuine, liberated smile. "We made it through," she whispered. I nodded. No one would ever take her power from her again. What I learned is that the strongest form of justice isn't loud or violent. It's careful. It's strategic. It's exposing the truth in a way that can't be ignored. Watching someone who abused power finally face consequences brought a sense of closure I never expected. Together, Emma and I turned a nightmare into a fight for accountability. And we emerged stronger, wiser, and unafraid. The truth won. The past didn't stay hidden. And the people responsible were finally held to account.